Welcome to the TransformationCoach.me podcast. I'm your host, Adam Shively, and I'm on a 1 million pound mission. I've personally lost over 100 pounds, and I've applied what I've learned from my own transformation journey to help my hometown clients lose over 35,000 pounds in just 5 years. Now, I'm on a mission to produce over 1 million pounds of results by delivering weekly tips, motivation, and my best transformation strategies to my podcast listeners, blog readers, and everybody I interact with through social media and my online coaching programs. The perfect time to start your transformation is now. So let's do this. All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the TransformationCoach.me podcast. My name's Adam Shively. I'm super psyched. This is our 1 year podcast anniversary, and I'm bringing in the big guns. We've been talking a lot about productivity, being more effective so we can carve out more time for us to invest in our own health and our own fitness and get that return on investment through more time with people that we love. So today I'm bringing on one of the people I'm really, really into. This guy is an expert. I consider him one of the top experts in the area of productivity, efficiency. I watched one of his recent live casts. He said that productivity is his playground. I'm all about that. I've read his books, and I'm psyched to bring his message to you. So we want to welcome to the show, Mr. Ari Meisel. Ari, welcome to the TransformationCoach.me podcast.
Thanks for having me, Adam, and congratulations on a year of podcasting.
It's super exciting. I love doing it. And, of course, I'm a huge fan of the Leverage podcast. There's somebody that I follow on the regular. I listen to you while I work out. So that's good, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to kick this off. I know that your own productivity and efficiency journey started with your own health situation. A health issue popped up. I read in your book, Less Doing, More Living, and you talked about how that situation kind of forced your hand to be more productive. So maybe just talk about that briefly and let my audience know what went down with that situation.
Yeah, sure. So I was working in construction. I had a real estate business, and I was just living a very unhealthy lifestyle with a lot of stress. And when I was 23, I got diagnosed with Crohn's disease. And for those of you who know, or don't know rather, Crohn's is a chronic inflammatory condition that affects the digestive tract. It's very, very painful and very debilitating. And basically, I'd gone from working like 18-hour days to doing like an hour of work a day at best because I was just so weak and sick. And I was able to eventually overcome the illness. And part of that was developing a new system of productivity, which at the time I would call less doing, as in less doing, more living. And the idea was to help people optimize, automate, outsource everything in their lives in order to be more effective and get more done in less time. And that has grown from that into podcasts, books, and now we have a company called Leverage, which is a team of professionals that can accomplish any task or project for any person or business around the world.
Yeah, and like I said, I am worshiping at the altar of productivity, and Ari is one of the high priests of productivity. So with my clients and with the people that listen to the podcast, we really work a lot on finding that extra nook of time where we can invest it in our health. That's one of the biggest excuses that people have is, I can't work out because I'm so busy with running my company or working or all the stuff, all that buffer stuff that happens. So Ari, I sent you a message. I wanted to kind of challenge you to see. I know you are a busy parent. You're a parent of 4. You've got twins, which makes it even harder. I've got a lot of clients with twins. It's kind of weird. I attract people with twins for some reason. But I just know how intense that is, just having kids and having to deal with running a company and working, X amount of hours. So I sent that challenge out to you. And I already previewed my followers. I'm like, this guy is going to bring some productivity hacks, some tips. So what would you say as a busy working parent, what are 1 or 2 things that people could implement in our lives to find that extra time that we can reinvest in ourselves?
Yeah. So especially whether you're a parent or not, I think that everybody has sort of multiple parts of their life that they're living, whether you're, a 9-to-5 employee and a parent, or a 9-to-5 employee and a parent and somebody with a side hustle, or you're an entrepreneur and you're a parent, or you're just an entrepreneur and you have life, there's all these sort of different pieces of our life, I feel like. And I really don't like the the sort of idea of a work-life balance. I think it's more of a work-life integration, because it's not like when you're at work, you're not thinking about your life, and when you're at life, you're not thinking about your work. It just doesn't happen that way. It's just, nobody's like that. Although the goal for me a lot of times is to compartmentalize as much as possible. And I think that is one of the biggest keys. So whether you have 2 parts of your life, 3 parts of your life, or maybe 4 parts of your life, this is not about like being present. I wouldn't say something that sort of cliche. It's more just about setting an environment or setting up triggers or creating situations where you're really just doing that one thing so that you can do it to the best of your ability, at least 90% maybe. I don't expect 100% focus on anything nowadays. There's just too much different things going on. But for me, for example, I work right now, it's summer hours. So I'm essentially working from like 9 to 1. The kids have been in camp for a couple weeks, and then they're at home for a couple weeks, and we have 4 young children. So right now it's camp mommy today, and that's from 9 to 1. And then at 1 o'clock, I pretty much turn my phone off until like everyone's in bed around 8 or 9. And then I do a few more hours of that. And it's not easy. It's really hard. I really want to check on things a lot of times, but I do my best not to, and I really try to compartmentalize whatever I can. So I have this time and I have that time. And that's the best thing I can do to sort of separate it in my mind. However, the other thing that I really try to get people to practice is being able to, so multitasking is something that doesn't really exist. People should understand that. When we think of multitasking, what we're really doing is what's called context switching. You're just moving back and forth rapidly between tasks. And that's exhausting on the brain and on your body. What you can do, though, is create certain triggers and things that make it so that you can more quickly switch into a different mode. So, for example, like I can be playing with the kids and totally like relax, or what I would call relaxing. So I can be playing with the kids in the morning, and 9 o'clock comes and I can just flip right over into work mode and start working immediately. And that's because, at least here in our summer house here, you can't necessarily tell, but I'm in our basement. This is where I hardwire. It's the only place I can hardwire my computer. So this is where I sort of set myself up. I don't come in this room for any other reason than to work. I've got my light, and I've got my glasses, and I've got this cool CEO cup.
Nice.
I've got all these things that just tell me in my brain, this is a workplace. And it could be anything. It could be a chair that you like in your office or at work. It could be a smell. People do that a lot of times, whether it's like an aromatherapy or anything like that. Food, coffee, noise. But this thing of the 5 senses, all these things that you can associate just with that activity, it will make your brain more easily shiftable into that mode. So you can actually you waste a lot less time switching gears, basically.
Right. So you have these built-in signals that's like, now it's time to work, or now it is family time. So that makes total sense. I use meditation as kind of a buffer from when I do work time to family time. I'll meditate for 10 minutes, and that kind of helps switch into the family mode for me. So no, that's huge. Now, in reading your book, it's been a while since I read Less Doing, More Living. I just finished Idea to Execution, but I remember something in the first book that, is it true that you outsourced all your grocery shopping at one point, or am I making that up?
Yeah, so the funny thing is I actually like grocery shopping. I find it like one of those semi-distracted environments where you can, the only problem with being semi-distracted actually is that you end up missing a lot of things, I find, but it's like, I can do it with the kids. It's just sort of like, it doesn't require a lot of brain power, and I can do it. We typically, though, we have a family of 6 people and 3 animals too. So like we have a lot of feeding to do. We go through a lot of groceries. So one of the things we do is with Amazon Fresh, and this is a New York thing. There's certain metropolitan areas that have it, but this is not something everybody can do necessarily. There are ways to do it if you don't have Amazon Fresh. But basically, so Amazon Fresh has this little thing called it's their dash wand, and you can scan a barcode of something, or you can do a voice recording. And so basically, as we run out of things, or I think of things we need, or my wife does, we just add it to the list. And then I have a recurring task every 2 or 3 days, I think, for someone on our team to go in and see what's in the cart and place the order and have it delivered. So basically, things just show up.
Yeah, that's amazing. And that's huge because, what I do is I go every other week grocery shopping instead of every week, but this is even obviously more efficient. No, that's huge. I know so many people just stress over their grocery shopping. And if you don't grocery shop effectively, then your meal planning is kind of screwed for the week. And I help people try to get healthier and lose weight. And then if that's not consistent, then it all goes out the window, and it kind of is that vicious cycle. So let's talk a little bit about leverage in the services that you provide, because I know that I'm a new client of yours, and I'm already seeing a huge difference. Not only as, it's not just for business owners. I mean, it's obviously helped me as a business owner, but I'm using it in my personal life a lot as well. Like, I just got a new computer, and I put a task up to switch all my banking information and all my files over to my new computer. And I just did some Facebook stuff. And I mean, it's saving me time. I kind of think of it, I've been promoting it already. I think of it as like, it's like Google, but Google would actually do all the stuff for you instead of just finding the answers. So that's kind of the best way I can describe it. But maybe just talk a little bit about some different ways that some people most frequently use your service.
Yeah, so we like to think of the service as your to-do list done, right? So it's really anything. We really pride ourselves that we can do anything as long as it's legal. And on the team of over 150 people, we've got copywriters, graphic designers, travel experts, researchers, legal experts, video editors, you name it. So the thing is that I think that a lot of people use it for business stuff. We do a lot of sales funnels. We do a lot of video editing and things like that, email, copywriting. But we plan trips. We have the team just planned my family vacation on a Disney cruise in October, which I was very happy not to have to deal with that, because doing that with 6 people it was complex, to say the least. Yeah. But the cool thing, like something like that, is that they start doing the planning, and there's already a million moving pieces to that. And they work on it, and somebody says, "Oh, well, we need a passport for Chloe." Chloe's my 1.5-year-old daughter. Don't have a passport for her. So then, instead of just being like, "Oh God, now I have to go deal with that," I can just respond and be like, "Okay, well, help me deal with that too." And then they do. And so we can do stuff in person. We really can take things to the nth degree. That's kind of the big one, is that if you're like, okay, I'll have someone help me with this, but then I got to do this. Or someone help me with this part, and then I'll take care of these parts. Like, no, we can take care of all of it. So it really runs the gamut. People have us, like you said, do personal stuff. We can do shopping. We can do travel planning. But we do really big research tasks a lot of times. We can do market research. A lot of graphic design, a lot of web development. We build websites. We can build apps. So really anything that will help you grow or reclaim your time. I always want to help people reclaim their time, because I think that's where the genius can really come out, and that's going to just make the world a better place.
Right. No, and I'm seeing a huge difference already. Like I said, it's so cool just to be able to dig deep with the questions, like you said. And like, okay, so I was going to put I have all those tax bins that we all have where we save our receipts and all that. And I was like, I put a task up. I said, I need to get rid of all these. I want to put it all in my Evernote. What's the best scanner to use? They found that. Okay, now how can I get someone else to do all the scanning for me? And they're figuring that out. So it's just, now I can take that time and I can be with my kids, or I can work out and reinvest that. So I'm already seeing huge benefit from that. One last question. I want to talk about the app, the Tap Test, because I found that to be very, very interesting when I started doing the app that you suggested in Less Doing More Living, where you try to find the most productive hours of your day by tapping on the phone. So maybe just touch on that a little bit, about the science behind that and how people can get a hold of that app.
Well, okay, so the app that I made, that was before Leverage. So the iPhone app is not there anymore, but it's still in the Google Play Store. It's the Less Doing Peak Time app. But You can also, on the iPhone, you can get CNS Tap Pro. And basically what it is, it's a central nervous system tap test, which is 50 years old. And all you're doing is tapping on the table, or in this case, the screen, as fast as you can for 10 seconds. And it counts the number of taps. And it's a very good corollary to the health and recovery state of your nervous system. So any athlete listening will understand what HRV is, or heart rate variability. And basically, if you do like a really hard workout, or you're not sleeping well, or you're really stressed, your HRV will be lower, which means you're less resilient. So you think about like a rubber band and or your heart, basically. So a rubber band, and if it's stretched really, really tight, it's not going to be able to sort of react and move. And if it gets pushed out of the way, it's going to take a lot of strain and whatever. Whereas if it's not like that and it's more resilient, you can sort of bend it out here and it'll come right back to where it's supposed to be. So you want to be more resilient, and meditation obviously is one of the ways you can do that. But what I found was that there was a really cool thing that if you do the tap test throughout the day, you can identify the time of the day on average where you are sort of firing on all cylinders. So your peak time. And in peak time, there's lots of research on this, you are 2 to 100 times more effective than any other time of the day. And that means that you are more able to get into a flow state. So you can get a lot done if you respect your peak time. The problem is that a lot of people have stupid meetings or phone calls or things that they shouldn't be dealing with during their peak time because they don't know it. And then the whole day just becomes like a wash. Sometimes they don't know why. And also understanding that every one of us has a different biorhythm to all the things that we do. There are better times for you to work out, to make phone calls, to talk to your boss, to work in a team. All those things are better times and worse times for you to do that. And the more you know about that, the better.
Yeah. So one of my basic strategies that I'm using now is I was doing the tap test before. I found my peak time was usually between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. And now I'm using the leverage service from getleverage.com, another shameless plug. And I delegate everything during that time. I'm like, I can focus on what I need to focus on by first, I know when my peak time is, and then I can delegate things so I can do what a term that we use in strategic coach called unique ability. And that's my unique ability time, and I can dig in and help people the most. So I think it's super cool. I want you guys to check out the tap test. I'll put all the links in the show notes and in my blog. That way you guys can have links to all the important websites and all the information that Ari has so graciously shared with us. And Ari, I want to be respectful of your time. But real quick, I just want to say thank you and kind of acknowledge you and because you are giving us back something that is our most precious resource, which is our time, which we can reinvest in our health, our fitness, our family, and the people that we love the most. So I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate you taking some time with us and investing it here with me today on the podcast. And I'm excited to continue my journey with your company and leverage and getting more done and having a little bit more of that me time in return. So I appreciate it, my man.
Thank you so much, Adam.
All right. Thanks a lot, Ari.
So there you have it, my friends. Mr. Ari Meisel dropping knowledge on us about increasing your productivity power. And I want to challenge you guys. What can you do in the next 24 hours to help increase your productivity? Maybe it's using an app. Maybe it's tagging in some help. Maybe it's getting a little bit of leverage like we talked about. And maybe it's just getting your schedule put together and looking at those pockets when you can increase your efficiency, decrease some of that buffer in between time, and really make the best use of your time so you can recapture some of that for you and for your family. You can reinvest it in your health and your fitness, and that is what it's all about, my friends. So make sure that you check out the show notes or the blog associated with this podcast. We're going to have some extra bonus footage of Ari's TED Talk about his battle with Crohn's disease. I'm going to have some links to his books, all the information, so you want to check that out for sure. And as always, I'm going to encourage you to get out there, get more efficient, and own it. Every meal, every workout, every day. I'll see you on the next episode. Hey there, before I let you go, one last quick reminder. If you guys got anything out of this episode, if it motivated you, fired you up, got you excited and ready to take action, I would love and appreciate it if you guys could go on iTunes, leave me a rating and a review, subscribe to this podcast, and share it with a friend. Spread the message. Help me achieve my 1 million pound mission. I greatly appreciate it. I'm grateful for you guys and the energy that you bring. I'm going to keep bringing it. So let's do this.